What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy Humble Warrior checking in. I wanted to get some thoughts on this Tua situation and just give a little insight about what I see is going on in terms of his performance yesterday against the Broncos. So, as many recall, last week he made comments about the NFL being quote unquote easier than what he thought. However, his comments were taken out of context in terms of what he was speaking about, and because of that, the league decided to pretty much teach him a valuable lesson in how he should go about wording things. Although what he was trying to say was that the play calling and the play style was a lot easier than what it was at Alabama, which, if you followed his career, you knew that he had 3 different offensive coordinators during his tenure at Alabama. So he had to learn different terminologies, different play callings, and different playing styles. So his offensive coordinator, Chad Gailey, has basically watered down the offense to where he's forced to run the same plays over and over and over again. I'm assuming from fear that Tua won't actually get the terminology, which, if you know anything about Tua, his brain is like that of a sponge. He's going to pick up the terminology, the different theatrics of where to place the ball, where the player should be, who's running what route, and so on and so forth, because he's not a one-read quarterback. If you look at the game yesterday, he was steady trying to go through progressions even when he was being sacked. Of course, every defense first reaction to take away his first read, which is fine because 9 times out of 10 he goes to his second or his third read. It's not like he struggles with reading the field. But if your offensive line itself is abandoning protecting him because they felt like the other guy was better, then that means that team is failing him. Because some of the passes he was making, most of the balls he threw yesterday were catchable. Maybe like 1 or 2 that I saw were like, okay, put a little bit too much mustard on this or that. Like the crossing route over the middle that Grant was open, but Tua, because of the pressure, overthrew him by maybe a yard or 2. Things like that can be fixed. But the mere fact that he stayed under pressure most of the game, and the sacks that he took, including the one that nearly could have injured him, shows me that the team isn't solely invested in trying to win around him. And for me, it's terrible because when the kid got drafted there, I even said that he will turn that franchise around, which his numbers are going to get better. Now, the whole comparison with Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert, I feel like that's unfair because they already basically hit the ground running. Tua didn't have that luxury because he had Ryan. Fitzpatrick was a proven starter in the league, and he's been a journeyman. So they made sure that he was in a more mentorship situation. So to me, yesterday was literally a bunch of BS. It didn't have to go down that way, but kudos to the Broncos. They had a great defensive scheme, and they executed it. Now, this next game against the Jets, I want to see what the offensive line does and how they protect Tua and how the running game gets off and stuff like that, how the receivers are able to make catches and, make life a lot easier for Tua, because at the end of the day, that is your franchise. You did select him 5th overall. Now, if you want to say you didn't want him or whatever the case may be, then you never should have fucking took him. I hate to cuss like that, but that's what you never should have did. But Brian Flores is the coach, and he felt like Ryan gave him the best chance. I disagreed. Although when Ryan got in the game, I saw that the protection for him actually increased. They didn't allow Denver to just run wreck shop on Ryan. So that made me wonder, were they really just abandoning Tua to leave him out there to dry? Because most of the hits he took were from blown up coverages or blown up blocking assignments that his line didn't even bother to apprehend or slow down the damn defender. Like Bradley Chubb damn near had a Thanksgiving Day feast with Tua in the backfield. He damn near met him every single time, damn near. So that begs to wonder, like, what the hell was really going on yesterday? Because I watched the entire game. I just could not believe how much pressure they maintained on Tua. They got to him almost every single possession except the very first one when Tua had a shortened field and threw that 3-yard touchdown pass. That's it. The rest of the way, he was constantly under pressure. And that, even after halftime, they still cranked it up. You would think at halftime they make adjustments and, slow down the rush or chip with a tight end or running back. Didn't even fucking happen. Left the ball on the island. So for the analysts and people to get up today and like bury this boy or sit there and talk about why they made the move, this, that, and the third, people like Shannon and Skip, you guys are fucking disgusting. Because at the end of the day, football is a team game. It's not an individual game. And if you heard the post game, Tua kept saying, we have to execute better. We are a team. I just got to not hold the ball so much. He kept reiterating his mistakes and what the team had to do to improve. He was not bashing nobody on the team. Although he could have, he did not. So media itself need to get off this boy. Because it doesn't make any sense to sit there and bury him after one game that he had that they considered to be an awful game. He was 11 of 20 for 83 yards. Yeah, 83 yards not a lot of yards by no means. But if you look at the game, the fact that he stayed under pressure, and then they showed how the game flipped when Ryan got in after 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and how they moved the ball simultaneously down the field, that goes to show you exactly what the team was doing. So why all of a sudden do y'all not like Tua? Because of the praise he received from being picked that high, or because of the fact they benched Ryan midway through the season? How is that anything dealing with Tua? The only thing Flores wanted to see was what he had in the pick. That's all he wanted to see. And you guys won 3 in a row right after benching Ryan. The offense was not as productive outside of the Arizona game, but every player is different. It's a learning curve. So Tua's going to get better. He's going to get stronger. And you guys are going to put up more points and more stats than what you probably will this year. But nonetheless, the most important thing is winning. It's not about him throwing 300-400 yards a game. That is irrelevant if you fucking lose. It's irrelevant. So as long as he continue to get you to wins, what does it matter? Because he's going to get better as a player. And 10 years from now, if God willing, if he stays healthy, he can lead you to 1 or 2 Super Bowls. And then what do you say? Do you still want Fitzmagic then? Anyway, I'm going to come out with a part 2 of this video. I get back to work. Peace.